genre.
Doctor Who The Long Way Around, the weekly podcast where we review and discuss every episode of Doctor Who, one doctor at a time. I'm Cassandra Fredrickson.
I'm Nick Jimenez.
And I'm Scott Corelli.
And today on the show we'll be discussing The Mark of the Rani, the Sixth Doctor's fourth story. Hooray.
Man, we really are.
Oh boy, are we.
Trying to remain positive. We'll see how long it goes.
So The Mark of the Rani. All right. So to begin with,
Tell us the story, Grandpa.
Yeah, to begin with, the Master was dead.
In the greatest way ever.
Yeah. So the Master died in Planet of Fire, which was the penultimate Fifth Doctor story, and everyone was in agreement that he shouldn't come back. Basically, Eric Sayward hated the Master and thought he was a stupid character because Eric Sayward hated everything about Doctor Who and thought all of it was stupid. And because he was a terrible script editor. But Eric Sayward hated the Master, so he was like, "Good, bye." And John Nathan Turner was like, "Yeah, I guess we kind of overused it." And Anthony Ainley's contract was up as well, so it all really just seemed like, the Master was truly dead and was not going to be coming back. But after Planet of Fire, John Nathan Turner was impressed that the Master continued to be as popular as he was with fans. And so he thought, like, well, what's the harm in bringing the Master back as long as we only keep it to like a single story every season? And so he went and got writers Pip and Jane Baker, who had
presumably for like 6 pennies from Fagin in like a orphanage,
probably. Yeah. Yeah. They were siblings from an orphanage.
Me and him write the stories we do. He comes up with them. I'll write them down, you see.
So they had written several novels together, some low-budget movies, and had written episodes for Z-Cars and Space 1999. And he wanted them for Doctor Who. At first, they were not interested because they felt like they had written enough science fiction and didn't want to do anything else because they were like, we don't have any ideas. If only they had listened to that feeling. But he was like, well, we haven't done a historical in a while, so why don't you write a historical? And they're like, oh, okay, well, we hate science fiction, so maybe we'll do a story about Luddites.
Can't have science fiction there.
Yeah. So they did a history story about the Luddites and basically were told, hey, why don't you go ahead and slip the Master in there and we'll do that. And they were like, great.
That'll happen.
Great. We're also going to create a time lady called the Rani, which is Hindi for queen. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Do whatever you want. I don't care. And so they wrote sort of a two-hander between the Master and the Rani, and the story originally was called Too Clever by Far.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, that was the name of the story. Too Clever by Far. Okay. And then over time eventually became Enter the Rani, which... bad title.
Right. Schoolyards across Great Britain would have descended into madness.
Yeah. If the internet was around back then, that's no good. So eventually it became, of course, the Mark of the Rani, as we know. Anthony Ainley was contracted to return for a single story. And basically, the director was hired, and the director was Sarah Hellings, one of our only female directors. And okay, so here's the interesting thing about the execution of this story.
Sure.
So Pip and Jane Baker wrote a story about Luddites in a world where, like, they envisioned it to basically take place near an open air museum in South Wales that had overhead coal trucks and switching stations on rails and all this crazy stuff. Hellings, however, decided that she wanted this to, because she had directed a lot of sort of like old timey stuff, like 19th century stuff. She wanted this to take place in a 19th century village. And so that's where she chose as her location to shoot this. And that is not remotely how Pip and Jane Baker wrote the script. And so Eric Sayward basically had to rewrite it last minute to change the story to fit the location that Hellings chose. And so there was a lot of that. So a lot of last minute changes there. And then the BBC doing sort of like through a budget mistake, mistakenly gave them an extra location week in the schedule. And Nathan Turner was like, "Oh, great. We're going to shoot this whole thing on location. It's going to be the best Doctor Who story since Spearhead from Space. It's going to be amazing." And so he was going to shoot the entire thing on location, and they shot a week and a half of it. And then the last week of it, it rained. And so they couldn't do anything, like they couldn't shoot outside. And so they were like, "What are we going to do?" And so they moved into a studio to shoot like some of the stuff that they would have had to do in a studio, like the Rani's TARDIS and things like that. And then they still had about at least 2 days worth of stuff to shoot in the woods in the area where Hellings chose her location. And they didn't have enough budget left to do a reshoot out that far. But luckily Pip and Jane Baker had a wooded area in their backyard. So that's where they finished the rest of the story, but they did 2 days of work in a half a day.
Wow.
And so some of the forest stuff, I mean, really, when you think about all of the things that they went through, like last minute changes and things that they had to go through, this story could have turned out way worse than it already was.
Right.
It's shocking that it's as cohesive as it is, to be totally honest.
It's a real Quantum of Solace situation.
Yeah. Now here comes the heartbreaking part. So after the story was over, everyone working at Doctor Who was really excited about the Rani as a character. And Nathan Turner saw like the potential in bringing her back as a recurring adversary, maybe replacing the Master, to sort of like breathe some new life into the character. And Kate O'Mara basically came out and was like, "Oh yeah, no, that would be awesome. I'd love to come back. Cool." And so as he had just finished a story for the season they were currently working on, Eric Sayward and John Nathan Turner went to writer Robert Holmes and asked if he would write a Rani story. And he agreed to add her to a story that he was planning on writing for season 23 called Yellow Fever or How to Cure It. Mm-hmm. But as we know, he died before that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So we almost had a Rani story written by Robert Holmes.
I didn't know that she was supposed to be in that story.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. She was going to be the villain of that story. And unfortunately, we will never know what the Rani written by Robert Holmes would be like. Because
infinitely better than this, I hope.
I would imagine so, considering the times that he wrote the Master. I mean, he created the Master.
Yeah.
And every time he wrote the Master, it was... Did he write him 3 times? Is that right?
I think so.
Or just twice?
Did he write that season opener with Joe? And the Autons and the Master?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that one and Goopy Master, and I think that's it?
That is, yeah, I guess that is it. Okay, so 2.
Because he didn't like
but-
reusing things that he created.
Right. But those are both like knock it out of the park Master stories. And so I oh man, I would have loved to see what he could have done with the Rani. I bet if he had been able to finish Yellow Fever or How to Cure It, I would bet that the Rani would exist in New Who.
I really, really want her to come back, but not like this.
Well, I have thoughts on that that we can talk about maybe at the end.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's the arduous story of how the Mark of the Rani, that classic story, the Mark of the Rani, came into existence.
And there's always something we can learn from the past.
Plus side, one lady writer and a lady director. So,
and a lady, potentially a really strong lady villain.
a lady of time.
Yeah.
Lady Time Lord. Yeah.
Lady Time Lord. It's like an Ed Sheeran song.
So Cass, why don't you tell us about let's start off with episode 1.
The Mark of the Rani, Part 1. Written by Pip and Jane Baker. Directed by Sarah Hellings. Produced by John Nathan Turner. Script edited by Eric Sayward. Air date February 2nd, 1985. The Doctor and Peri land in the 19th century mining village of Killingsworth due to a time distortion of some kind. On the way to investigate, they witness some aggressive miners tipping a cart and wrecking machinery, and notice some of the miners have strange red marks on their necks. While the Doctor and Peri speak to the local landowner, the Master also turns up, inciting the men to attack the Doctor. The Master finds his way into the village bathhouse, which is being run by a time lady called the Rani. She's using the bathhouse as a cover operation to take the chemical that allows humans to sleep from some of the miners in order to use it on the inhabitants of another planet that she rules. The Master gets her to work with him to deal with the Doctor by taking some of the fluid hostage. The Doctor eventually figures out that there's something strange going on at the bathhouse and goes to investigate, disguised as one of the miners. He gets captured, and the Rani confronts him. Peri manages to get the Doctor out, but still attached to the gurney he was strapped to. Some miners intercept the Doctor and attempt to wheel him into a mineshaft.
I want to hear your exhausted sigh.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm going to start this by saying this is like the 5th time I've seen this story. Because I'm pretty sure I covered it on the blog that I used to do like ages and ages ago in the before time. And then
Before the crash.
before the accident. And Scott and I covered it ages ago on this podcast. And I really liked the Rani in theory. But then the more I rewatch this, the more I'm just continually disappointed by everything. But I will say that Peri is adorable in this.
Yes.
I forgot she is wearing the outfit that she's wearing, and I saw it and I immediately was like, I need to cosplay that.
Her Snow White dress.
Yes. In like mustard yellow. It's horrendous and I love it.
Okay, is it just me or is it mustard yellow outside and then every time they're on a set it's like a pinkish beige?
The top is like the gross yellow color, and then her skirt shifts from like white to like pink.
Oh, okay. That's how it changes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's the lighting, but
In any event, she's the best in this, which is unfortunate because the Doctor is literally the worst.
I mean, short of like choking her out, which we've already seen, but like,
right?
Yeah, he's pretty terrible.
I will say that I found
He has no excuse in this one, though. That's the problem.
No, yeah.
I found his, usual awfulness was in this story more bearable because something about Peri she was just on it, the story. She was just not having it, and she was just like, had a comeback for every time the Doctor like would like rag on her. And it felt like this episode was also not putting up with the Doctor, and so that made it easier to go down.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Can I talk about my favorite part of this first episode?
Yeah, go for it.
My favorite part are all the Luddites in the bathhouse whipping each other with towels, but fully dressed. Like I'm like somebody forgot to tell these weirdos how to like actually whip towels in a locker room at people. Like you're not supposed to do it when you're fully dressed, you idiot.
It's somehow even weirder that way.
Yes.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
I love when they come tearing out of the bathhouse and then just like shove that kid and then knock over a tray of bread. And then just like, it's like, oh, shenanigans.
And then you just keep shoving that kid back down again. Just the Luddites in this are real dicks.
Well, they're sleepy, Scott.
Yeah, I guess that's true. They are sleepy.
I don't get violent when I'm sleepy.
This is 2 episodes in a row with Highwaymen.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, true.
Yeah. They basically, they like attack this dude on a cart who has like a piece of machinery on the back, and they're like, we're Luddites, we're gonna break this. And it's so funny because they pull him off the cart and he's like, oh no, they're gonna kill me. And then they just break the machine and run away, and he's like, oh, they're not.
They're like the Doctor Who equivalent of like the South Park, like took our jobs guys.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
True.
They just are just so antagonistic towards technology,
machines,
and progress, industry.
Mm-hmm. And then when the Luddites attack the Doctor when he's hanging on off of a chain, like over the pit, and they're attacking him by hitting things around him, because the actors like obviously don't know what to do because they don't actually want to hit him,
right?
So they're like hitting the chain above him with the shovel. Oh, we're gonna get you. Why hasn't anyone stopped this yet? This isn't how we blocked it earlier.
I feel really bad for the dog.
Yeah.
I like forgot, and I was like, oh, the Master is a terrible person. And I guess that's a good way to illustrate it, because he just shrinks the dog forever, or whatever that does.
I really like how blasé and curt the Master is with like the first couple of townspeople that he meets.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what are you doing, you idiots? Go over there, you idiots. Like,
I don't know. I like Ainley's Master sometimes, but this is not his best story.
Well, you feel like he's kind of phoning it in a little.
Especially when he's like evil laughing. Like,
yeah.
You know?
Well, because like imagine it from his perspective, right? He retired from this role, and they ask him back, and he's like, oh wow, this must be like a really big deal. And he shows up, and there's like another Master, and he's like has to sort of be like her underling, and like regardless of it, of like whatever his possible sexist politics may have been at the time, she's like new. And he's old hat and he's been around a while, but he has to like basically keep acting like to her instead of like being the master. Like it's a weird situation to come back to. Like she's like the new person and he's like having to sort of answer to her, and it's strange. Mm-hmm. It's a strange setup.
Yeah.
And I imagine that he wasn't in a great place while filming this, I imagine.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I just question like why the master is in this at all. I mean, I know why because we just talked about it, but like that's like not the way to go about introducing a new villain.
Right.
Because
absolutely
everything the Rani does is like undercut by the master. Mm-hmm. And you're supposed to be building her up as this like mad, crazy scientist genius lady, but it's all like tell and no show. Like it's the master and the doctor being like, "Oh, she's a genius," but I'm like, "Why? What? Then why hasn't she like just slapped the master and told him to go away?" Like
Right. To the point where there's a bit where I forget if this is in the first episode or the second episode, but it doesn't matter because it's irrelevant. It could have been placed anywhere, like most scenes in this story. But it's the bit where Perry's like, "I don't understand. How do you know who she is?" And he was like, "Because she's like the master." And she's like, "But the master is a runaway Time Lord." He goes, "Yes." Like that's it. That's how you're gonna explain that. Okay. All right.
It
whatever.
happens.
You're not going to make her, you're literally not going to make her own character. You're just going to
compare her.
You're going to, you have exposition to explain the master and then say she's just like him.
Yeah. Cause then like, what's the point?
Right.
Do you think that there were so many moments, particularly, and we'll get into it in part 2, but just visually with when the Doctor and the Rani and the Master start having scenes together, do you think this was in Stephen Moffat's head at all when he was writing The Doctor Falls?
I don't know.
Just the image of like the doctor chastising and arguing with two masters, and like the kind of banter between the Rani and the Master are kind of.
Oh, well, I mean, that actually gets to the thing that I was gonna talk about.
Okay.
What if the next time we see Missy, we get the reveal that Missy is the Rani? And that the Master and the Rani are the same person. Just like different regeneration cycles.
I don't know if I like that.
Why?
Well, because I mean, then she's still not a new character, really, to me.
Right.
Yeah, but then at that point, does it matter?
I guess it would have to be the way that they explain it, or like.
Yeah, it sucks. Like the idea, because like, I got a real like Dr. Death and Wonder Woman vibes from her, like at the beginning, and that was fast. Like the idea of there being this mad rogue scientist time lady that no one else, and like I found her relationship with the Doctor and the Master really fun in this because she just had so little respect or patience for their rivalry. And really put their
but the reason that I would like that if she was the Master from the future, of course that's how she would treat that, because she's just like, oh Jesus, I don't care, you guys are idiots.
But I feel like Missy does care. Like Missy completely.
Missy does.
Yeah, Missy cares. But like
Missy's dead.
If Missy, I don't know. I
don't know. She's such a weak character in the two instances. Cause like Nick, you've seen both times the Rani has shown up.
Right.
Those are the two and only times that she's ever on the show. And
right.
I just think that she's.
I did it.
Yeah, you did it. I just think she's such a weak character that as much as I would be interested to see New Who adapt her, I feel like they would basically have to reinvent the character from scratch. And if you're going to do that, then what's even the point?
Yeah. I mean, watching this episode, looking back on it, it was interesting because I was totally aware of all of the faults in and around our stars, but but I was also, this was my first time really seeing the I know this isn't like really true, but like, you know, my first time, I felt like this is my first time watching the Rani, and or really seeing her in the context of like the mythos. And I really like just the concept, and I'm not saying it was executed well in this episode, but just the concept of there being a character in the middle of this conflict between like the Doctor and the Master, and seeing both of them as equally like dumb, or like, you know, like you guys are just both two sides of the same problem. Like, I don't want any part of it. I want to stay in the middle, and I just want to do my experiments, and I just want to stay away from you dum-dums and your weird like ego war.
Right.
And there's kind of a tragedy to this episode of like, she, you know, just when she thinks she's out, she gets sucked back in by the Master. And then, you know, through the fault of her own ego, chooses a side, and she chooses like the wrong side. And like watching that fall of character throughout this story was, I think, the highlight for me. Was like being like, she's so separated from all of it at the beginning, and at the end she's literally like hurtling through like Team Rocket with the Master. and I just found that fun to watch, and I think like that would be my germ of a concept. Like, either, you know, like if you ask me like, how do you bring the Rani back in 2018 or going forward, I'd be like, I think that is to me the most interesting part of the character. Not so much that it's like a girl like a time lady, but just that there is someone who sees herself as separate from this conflict that the show finds so important, and seeing what she does with it when put inside of it.
Yeah. And I don't know. I take issue with the Missy is the Rani thing, because to me, the Master like, I mean, when the Master was like conceptualized, like the Doctor was supposed to be like the ego, and then the Master was supposed to be the id, because Freud, whatever, it was the 70s. But like, right. I think some of that still kind of translates. Like, the Master is a reflection of the Doctor. If the Doctor, I don't know. It's difficult, but like, you know how they're like mirror images of each other?
Yeah.
If you do like the Master right. And I think that the
Rani...
I
mean, he literally has a mirror universe goatee on his face.
Yeah. But I think the Rani is different in that she is what could happen to the Doctor if the Doctor stopped caring. Like, the Rani is just so purely like logical. Like, she is like, oh well, science has gone too far, like, you know, and she is so like hyper logical that she will carry something out even though it is evil in that way. And the Doctor is very like logical and scientifically minded, but I think that his conscience, or her conscience going forward, with the 13th Doctor, is what stops them from being like the Rani. And I think that is a really interesting conflict, because like, I mean, the canon is kind of jumbled, but they all like went to school together. So like, I think that
which is so stupid, but
no, I know
it makes me so happy that there's like a legit like Marauders universe in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
There's something there is a part of me that, I mean, maybe not in a TV setting. Maybe that's the wrong setting for this. Maybe it's something Big Finish could do. But there's certainly a part of me who would love to see those, like a YA series.
Oh, I love it.
That period.
Yeah.
Right. But the issue though is like, it sounds good in theory, but unless it's executed exactly right, it could be an absolute disaster and really, really awful, and explain too many things and just be this really gross blemish on Doctor Who that already has a lot of blemishes. It's
the Doctor as a time scout tries to stop a robbery and like gets on a train.
Time Scouts.
Canon.
Oh my god.
The Time Scouts. In my head, I'm just trying to recreate the theme from Sailor Moon.
Oh, cool. Oh, that,
as Time Lord Academy.
Oh my god.
Their little neckerchiefs have like the Gallifreyan logo on it.
All right, I'm here for that.
Oh, who's Tuxedo Mask in that?
Oh shoot.
Is like Davros
know.
like Tuxedo
Tuxedo
Mask?
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Wow. No, I think at that point, I think we. I mean, if you're already gonna break it and make them the Time Scouts, let's just have Captain Jack be Tuxedo Mask.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, totally.
There we go.
He cleans up nice.
Yeah, and he can just show up in the past for no reason. And
Oh my god.
it'd be great.
Ugh.
But yeah, I do agree with you. Like Big Finish might it's the expectations would be so colossal if it was like a proper television show,
Right.
that it being Big Finish, it might allow it to be like, you kind of like Teen Titans Go,
Yeah.
where we're like, hey, we all know this is just kind of a lark, like just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be fun too if they did like a Time Lord Academy animated series.
Oh hell yeah,
That'd
like
be kinda cool.
like, but do you remember those?
Oh my
when
god!
they, when they did those,
Get the guys who did the like Avatar and Korra.
yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
those little chibi Avatar shorts.
Yeah. Well, not. No, I don't want chibi Avatar shorts. I want like the actual like Avatar guys.
Oh, okay. See, sometimes they would do these Avatar shorts where they all, you've seen those where they all
Yeah,
go to
yeah.
school together. That's
Sure.
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I went way more cartoony than you did.
Yeah. No. I meant like a legitimate like animated series.
Oh, like with pathos and drama.
Right. That like begins with them like all being like fresh faced,
Yeah.
scouts, and then
And
and then ends with
Yeah.
them all going their separate ways because the master looked into the time vortex and the Rani like became like super apathetic and just became like the
Oh my
ultimate
God.
teenager where she just doesn't care about anybody.
Oh
you
my
know what
God.
it is? It's Harry, Ron, and Hermione if they never made it out of the woods.
Oh no.
Oh no!
If like
that's sad.
like imagine if Ron never came back
Yeah.
to like, if he just was like peace and it just became the master.
My heart.
I'm on board. I think we should somebody get us in touch with the BBC and
Yeah.
we'll be like, so we have a great idea. Hey, look,
Right.
Smash cut.
Let me just preface this by saying we don't actually want to do this. We want you to hire someone else to do it
Yeah.
So we could watch it.
so we can watch it. That's what this meeting's about. We want to watch this show.
Smash cut to like footsteps walking briskly down a hall, like some like orderly is like, sir, let her into the BBC.
Orderly.
I don't know.
Why is this in a hospital?
I watched The Good Doctor this morning, and so I'm in like I'm in like an orderly place.
Oh man.
Oh,
So anyway,
man.
that's
I think the Rani would be interesting against the 13th Doctor specifically because the 13th Doctor is going to be a time lady, and I feel like a lot of like women characters. I think the Rani is really fascinating because I feel like a lot of women characters are criticized as being too like overly emotional, and then the Rani just doesn't care about anything.
Yeah, like she reminded. I forgot if I brought this up, so stop me but she reminded me a lot of Dr. Death.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
This kind of like emotionally vacant, but like nevertheless like really passionate scientist.
Yeah, and I think
Or
there's
Donatello.
definitely something. I think there's definitely something there. It's just all about like executing it properly. I think the big thing is that now that I'm really thinking about it and thinking about Chibnall and the Master, I do think when I look at like Chibnall's work on Broadchurch, I feel like the Rani would be more in his wheelhouse than the Master.
Yeah.
And like I don't want Missy to ever come back. Like I want whenever the Master eventually does come back, I want it to be a different actor. and a different take on that character.
Yeah. Male, female, whatever, just different.
Right. But well, and you know me, I've never liked that she calls herself Missy. Like, I can't possibly be the master. And it's like, yes, you can. Shut up.
Yeah,
like, just be the master. Jeez, that's who you are.
Although, like that for like that character, though, it seems to be like just the right amount of like.
Yes, but
mischievous.
Yes, but that was what I was actually going to get at, was that I don't want to see that version of the master interacting with a female doctor, because I can already I can see it's like I'm in the plane in Final Destination. And I can already see the plane crashing of all the lesbian jokes.
Sure.
Oh,
and I'm just I don't want that.
And
just
and I think it would be,
we're both ladies. Let's see what that's about. And I'm just like, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want that. Stop it.
And after the success of Missy, I feel like it would be so easy to do like a Ryan Murphy Rani, like a camp suit, like, Rani, which would be cool, but we just got that with Missy. So yeah, it would be cool to do a very like, I don't mean this in the,
it's like a
kind of like a
dry Rani.
Yeah. Like oh God, what's that stupid Luther? It's not stupid. It was stupid because I couldn't remember it. But like, yeah, like that kind of cold, like, oh, I actually can't cater to your emotion. I have to like just solve the problem.
Yeah. I guess when I was thinking about the Rani being an eventual incarnation of the master, I was thinking of it in terms of like, again, that mirroring thing, and the way that the doctor has the whatchamacallit in Trial of a Time Lord, whatever that.
Oh, the Valyard.
Yeah, it has the Valyard.
My favorite.
And so I was thinking. So I think I was thinking in terms of that, of like the Doctor and the Valyard, and then the Master and the Rani.
That's cool.
That's how I was connecting it in my brain.
Okay. See, I think we were looking at it as like the Rani was a different channel, but then like the Missy eats her channel, and like just stops. But like, yeah, that's cool. The duality of it.
Yeah. I think that's where my mind was when I was thinking of that as like a possible theory. But yeah, well, I do like that they're all in school at the same time.
Yeah. So like,
it's charming.
Ronnie is like, Ronnie is just evil Hermione, and the Master is just evil Ron.
God, that's why does that work so well? That's so weird.
Oh man, that's so good.
Yeah.
But I imagine if evil Hermione was like a couple grades above Harry.
Like the cool senior when they were freshmen.
Yeah. Well, and also in this particular case, Harry would be like Harry combined with Hagrid into a single human, and that's the Doctor.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Hagrid with all of Harry's like prowess and skill.
Yeah, that's the Doctor. Like pretty much.
Hello. Bring the fat man to me. Oh no, I got to hide in the woods, I do. I can't tell if it would have gone like way worse or like way better.
I don't know.
Can't even spell.
Well, anyway. Anyway, let's talk about this story that we don't want to talk about.
Oh man.
Well, we were a fair bit into it. Before we started talking about conceptual stuff.
Right. But I think basically like all that happens is Rani is like taking control of people with the little mark, hence the title, Mark of the Rani.
It's a super not distinctive mark, by the way.
No.
It should be called Burn of the Rani.
Yeah, cigarette burn of the Rani.
Oh no.
Yeah. Which I could also I think I just pictured like picturing like a New Who Rani just absentmindedly giving like somebody a cigarette burn just because whatever.
God.
Just like super
honey,
dark and doesn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, you got to move your arm when I'm just sticking my cigarette. I don't know why Harvey Firestein.
Yeah, why is that? Why is that happening? Anyway, you know what, Nick? I don't think you understand the Rani at all.
They want Harvey Firestein to play the Rani.
So, so that she's taking control of these people, and, the master's like, we should really, like, get rid of that box thing, the TARDIS,
Sure.
get rid of that, and, like, have your people get rid of the box thing. And so they take the box away, and the doctor's like, no, don't take my box. And they're like, we're going to put you on a cart and roll you down a hill. And he's like, no. And he's getting rolled down a hill. And then he lands. He's like, oh, finally, I'm safe. And these people pick him up, and he's like, oh, thank you very much. And then they put him on a train track and then roll him down the train track hill. And he's like, oh no, I'm rolling again. No.
Yeah.
And that's the cliffhanger. Like, it's so sick, because it wasn't enough that he's rolling down a hill. They also needed to transfer him from the bottom of the hill
to the mine
cart down the train track. Like,
oh my God.
Oh man, it's so
sometimes
weird.
I know this doesn't make any sense because I'm watching these very out of order in a way. But it seems like the show is in competition with itself to create the most nothing cliffhanger, but also have it be heightened bigger and bigger each time.
Oh, buddy. Our next story has the greatest cliffhanger in Doctor Who history.
Okay, I'm excited.
It's the worst. I mean, it's
okay. Yeah,
it's horrible, but it is like the most, like, are you kidding me? Like, when it happens, you're going to be like, really? And you're going to rewind it, and you're going to be like, wow, they actually did that. Okay.
If it's the one that I'm thinking of, I can't wait.
Yeah. It's a literal cliffhanger.
It's so good.
I know. So anyway,
last time there was a cliffhanger where the doctor just like wasn't where he was a minute ago.
Yeah.
Where'd he go?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, because kept walking. I don't know.
He left. I don't know. Pulled the Batman.
I tried looking up when I was watching the episode, I was like, oh, it'd be cool if I looked up stuff about the Industrial Revolution and kind of like what was actually going on in this time. And then when I got to the end of the episode, I was like, well, this is so inconsequential
right
to the episode that
right.
I just like.
I mean, there are Luddites in this.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, a lot of Luddites this go around.
That's true. That is true.
Or not Luddites. I just feel just like a lot of villagers.
Yeah. Well, these are literal Luddites.
Yes.
They actually hate technology of any sort.
Mm-hmm.
Or in this particular case, I guess industry is what
sure.
they hate.
Progress.
The machine.
The age is dark, we say.
Progress is taking away their jobs. See, we haven't changed much. Still the same. Oh, people are still exactly the same as they were like 200 years ago.
You mean I can't make a living using the same skills as my great-grandfather?
God.
Why should I have to learn new stuff?
I love your indignant villager voice.
Thank you.
I love all of his voices, except for his Rani. That was weird.
Oh man.
Nothing against the voice so much as who you were saying it was coming out of.
Oh right, yeah.
The Mark of the Rani Part 2, written by Pip and Jane Baker, directed by Sarah Hellings, produced by John Nathan Turner, script edited by Eric Sayward. Air date February 9th, 1985. The Doctor is saved by the inventor George Stephenson. Stephenson is planning a meeting of other great scientists and inventors, and the Master plans on using these geniuses to speed up Earth's technological development and then take over the planet that way. He gets the Rani to agree to help him by promising her more of the neurochemicals she needs. The Doctor sneaks back into the bathhouse and finds the Rani's TARDIS, where she has some dinosaur embryos in jars. The Rani remotely pilots her TARDIS into the mines, where she and the Master are now hiding, with the Doctor still inside. They chat about their plan while the Doctor eavesdrops. Peri plans on making a sleeping draft to help the miners, and she collects plants in a nearby dell which is booby-trapped by the Rani and the Master. The Doctor arrives and takes the Rani and the Master prisoner, making them steer Peri clear of their traps. The two escape, but the Doctor messed with her TARDIS's navigational controls while he was inside, and one of the dinosaur embryo jars get tipped over and starts to grow. The Doctor and Peri leave after giving back the brain fluid, which he stole off the Master at some point.
So I feel like there's a dinosaur egg-sized elephant in the room here.
I think that's okay. So we're in episode 2 now, and the first thing that I need to point out, because I have never heard this before. I have you guys ever heard candy referred to as sweetmeat?
I have heard sweetmeats used in like old books or like fairy tales and stuff, but I had never heard it.
I'll be totally honest. Maybe this is just maybe I'm just, I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with me, but I always thought sweetmeats meant like human flesh. I thought it was like a euphemism for being a cannibal. Like, you know, he eats the sweetmeats.
Yeah.
I always just thought it was like one of those old timey like gooseberry pie, you know, like just something that they used to make back then. Sweetmeats. Yeah.
It's an archaic word. So
but I never thought it was like candy.
No, but meats? Like, why?
I don't know.
What? Like, it would even make sense to me if it was like what they called like American pies, like dessert pies, because, you know, in England, like pie means like a meat pie.
Yeah.
It's like an empanada.
Yeah, like an empanada.
Empanada. Delicious.
I'm just saying, when I heard what an English pie was, I was like, oh, like an empanada kind of.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like like in Sweeney Todd, what she turns all the people into.
Right.
Yes, but
maybe
in
that's
America,
why I thought it was sweet meat. That's how it all came together in my head. Was probably Sweeney Todd.
Because meat pies and people eating
sweet meats and
Apparently, the word meat just meant food, like in general. So like
meat,
sweet food, like
weird.
Candy.
All right.
Thanks.
Well, there's an I in meat pie.
Anyway, there's dinosaur embryos.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
On the Rani's TARDIS. By the way, the Rani's TARDIS being a boudoir, I'm actually a big fan of. I really like the way her TARDIS looks.
Yes.
On the outside,
I feel.
The interior is like the most 80s thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's so good.
It's like, I'm like, yeah, this is how I'm pretty sure that's how Ray Liotta in Goodfellas like furnished his house. Like his
parents,
cocaine apartment, like that's what it looked like.
Oh my God.
Like Lydia's parents in Beetlejuice designed the interior.
Yes,
of the TARDIS.
100%. Oh my God, they should get her to play. They should get her to play the Rani.
Oh yes.
Oh, Catherine O'Hara. I'm all about Catherine O'Hara being in anything.
Yeah. Now I'm just imagining her going, "Doctor," and then passing out. Anyway, yeah, no, the Rani's TARDIS is incredible, and I like that her console, the TARDIS console, is all like there's no buttons; it's all like touch controls. I love how the Master and the Rani's TARDIS TARDIS. I don't know. How they both make the Doctor's TARDIS look like an antiquated piece of garbage.
It's kind of like when you're inside someone else's car.
And
you're like, oh, okay. Oh, so that mirror that camera just shows you when to back up, huh?
Right.
Bet that makes parallel parking really easy.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I do like one of the benefits I think of having multiple Time Lords in the show is kind of like stuff like what Scott's saying is you get to see what a different kind of TARDIS would look like, or like how a different Time Lord, imagine something very like sensual, like touching, as opposed to like the Doctor likes it to feel like a boat because he's ultimately still like a little boy playing pretend. so he's like, I have to run around and do all of this and click this and do that. And then Ronnie's like, no, you just, there's a thing right there. And yes,
she's like, actually, you can just program all of these into favorites. And then all I have to do is just swipe this
like
here.
Push a button. Yeah.
Yeah. And everything happens. I don't have to run around my console like a maniac.
He's like that kind of like dad that's like self-driving car.
Right. Right. That takes out all the romance. Romance? It's a TARDIS.
Hey, Ronnie's like talking to like hey Perry, you know how many times my TARDIS goes where I tell it to? 100% of the time.
Oh man. There's a bit in this where Perry has to like act all tough. Like she's got the gun trained on the Master and the Rani. And I'm just like, I'm a big fan of tough Perry. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. She's just like, don't you move. I don't know. I like that the Rani and the Master are like legit kind of scared of her.
Well, yeah, because she's human, so she's unpredictable.
Right. I like that. Also, when the Luddites, put the Doctor on a stick like the Ewoks do to Luke on Endor.
There we go with more people eating.
Big fan of that.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, see, sweetmeats.
Sweet meat.
But then I love that the Doctor's plan is to trap the Master and the Rani in the Rani's TARDIS and knock over the dinosaur so it starts growing.
Yeah, it's like pushing like a potted plant down and then running out of the house.
Also, that dinosaur reminds me of because it never really moves. Like I think there's a string on it when it's on the floor so that it's like it kind of like wiggles a little bit. But
sure.
But it never really moves. It just grows bigger, and so it reminds me of like those little those little things that you put in the
little sponges.
Yeah, the little sponges that you put in the water
they
and
expand,
then they grow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it reminds me of.
It kind of looks like those those dinosaur inflatable outfits everyone's wearing in like meme videos all the time.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
It does look like that.
So funny.
Just that image of the Doctor, the Rani and the Master, like literally up against the wall.
Yeah.
It's like an HR Puffin stuff.
It is.
And it's just such a humbling ending for this.
It's just spinning around like a gravitron, like at the fair,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know, Cass. What is it? Put into words why this story? Because we're having fun talking about the silly stuff, but like these are 45-minute episodes.
Yeah.
Talk about like what makes this story suck so much, because it's not good.
I think that because they didn't know how to write 45-minute episodes, that kind of contributes to that. And the silly stuff is like fun. I personally love the cliffhanger because it is so absurd. But just they take themselves way too seriously in this era and generally. In general, and I'm not really a fan of that. Like, I'm fine with the Doctor taking himself seriously because that's his character arc, but like the show takes itself so seriously, and it's not fun to watch anymore. Like, you have to be like, oh look, stupid dinosaur babies. Like, I don't know. And I really, really love the idea of the Rani, but every time she's shown up so far, it's just been womp womp. So,
which almost kind of makes me love her more.
Yeah. I'm like really passionate. I'm like a Rani apologist, but I'm like, no, it's garbage. But the character idea that I have in my head specifically is awesome.
Yeah. It's like Zam Wessel in Star Wars, or like Boba Fett, where it's just like there's this character like, no, it's so cool. It's like, why do you have a Captain Phasma doll? She got thrown in the freaking trash in the last movie. Like, no, she's so cool.
Yeah, it's basically like that.
We didn't even.
That was the worst save.
One thing we didn't even talk about was the fact that like because I mean we got to mention that the Doctor dresses in disguise and goes to the Rani's bathhouse to get to the bottom of these marks, and we didn't even mention the fact that A, the Rani has a bathhouse, and B, she uses the bathhouse as a cover to just like drug she just like puts a smoke like gas bomb or something and knocks everybody out, gives them the mark, and then sends them on their way.
Yeah, there's literal mustard gas in this story. Like, that's not fun. Yeah. I don't want mustard gas in Doctor Who.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it's like some things just don't belong, like gunfire.
Yeah.
Well, no,
gunfire can be fun.
Fine.
In the 70s, it was really fun.
Yeah, as long as the Doctor's not the one firing the gun at people. Mm-hmm. I even don't mind when he fires a gun, as long as it's for like a purpose and not to hurt someone.
Right.
Like to scare a group of teenagers away from his car.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. That's right. Hey, get out of here! See if the seventh Doctor had done that, he'd still be alive to this day.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh.
What a Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah. Speaking of Sylvester McCoy, that's who we got coming up next.
Hell yeah.
And the introduction of Ace.
Yeah, I'm excited. You guys have been. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Speaking of new companions, we got our new companions for the new season of the show.
I am hyped.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's going to be a loaded TARDIS. 3 companions, which is pretty. That's like a 5th Doctor or 1st Doctor level TARDIS.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it goes more of the way of the 1st Doctor than the 5th Doctor. Honestly,
yeah, I hope one of them is weirdly a little girl.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the 5th Doctor as long as they're just not all bickering with each other.
Yeah, but that's all they do. That's how they interact with each other.
But I didn't mind. I don't mind the combination of personalities. It's just that they don't need to always be in conflict with each other, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm excited. I'm interested to see if all 3 are going to be human, or if, just because we're meeting the actors, if like maybe one of them like won't be human, maybe that one of them will be
right. Like if one of them will be like a forehead alien,
right? Well, we haven't had an alien on the TARDIS since.
Well, Nardle's an alien.
Is he? Oh, yeah. I guess he is.
Yeah, he's a big old. He's a robot head.
Well, I mean, he's a robot head. I guess he was an alien before that.
Yeah, he was on an alien planet.
Oh yeah, I guess so. All right. Well.
He comes from a species where you can have your head severed for long periods of time.
I guess so. Handy.
I'm just so
no, heady.
Heady. Hey-o. I'm just so deeply. Yeah, I'm just so fascinated by everything about that show. Just like what it's gonna look like, what it's gonna sound like, what she's gonna sound like. It's just it's all so exciting.
Yeah, I mean it's as exciting as it was with 11th Hour. I remember how excited I was for that. It is time to refresh the show, and I'm excited to see what that's going to look like. I will say though, I'm a little trepidatious, but also really excited at the prospect of a 10 episode season. Having that kind of focus is interesting. I think.
Screw it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not.
If it makes the show better,
right? I don't love that it's less episodes, but also if that just means we cut out, the episodes that we don't really like, then whatever, that's fine.
It's more of like an HBO model, right? Because their seasons are 10 episodes.
Which makes me wonder: did they do that to raise the budget, like the budget per episode? Is that the reason why they cut the overall number? Maybe
that's probably a factor.
Yeah. So then what does that look like? Or is that just a side effect of having three salaries?
3 companions.
3 companions that you have to pay for.
Oh man, I can't wait to see what her TARDIS looks like.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know. I can't wait to see that. I just can't wait to see what she's going to wear.
That's true.
I'm really pumped to see what the first female Doctor's outfit is going to be.
Okay. I'm As far as the TARDIS goes, what do you guys think about a really comfortable feeling like kitchen? Just like a really, like in the morning we're just like there's always coffee brewing.
Let me. All right,
like,
Nick.
Okay.
I know that you're not. I know you're not meaning to do this, but we're not putting the first female doctor in the kitchen.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay. Picture this, like a den. Like the kitchen is like offset. You're
like,
it's
I just really want to see coffee getting made in the background.
Yeah, I just really want it to be kind of like a cozy, like. I mean, that's, like that every episode.
You're kind of just describing the Eighth Doctor's TARDIS, really.
Yeah, but that was kind of spooky. Like hello,
spooky kitchen.
H.G. Wells once wrote that man's greatest fear lies beyond the stars. But this would be like, kind of like, oh, I like it in here. And the Doctor's like, oh, hello, we're on our way to, I don't know, Mars.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm dying for a really urban looking TARDIS, like one with like a brick wall or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like a really different looking thing. I've been wanting that for a while. I also really want a TARDIS.
A fat greasy chef throwing the trash out every few minutes.
Sure. And I also just really want a TARDIS that makes better use of vertical space.
That would be cool.
I think that would be cool. Something with like a spiral staircase. Like,
that's why. That's why I like Matt Smith's first TARDIS so much. Is because they got underneath the console and they like explored with the I don't know.
I agree completely.
Space.
I love that TARDIS.
I think there's this trap that's really easy to fall into because it is such a part of the show that there has to be a big old middle chunk that everything is based around. And like visually the camera is always like circling around it. And I feel like we've seen that kind of shot so many times. Yeah, it would be cool to just get it out of there, like redesigning a room and just like, what else can we do with this space?
Right. The only thing that you need is you need the, I mean, you have to have the console, like you have to, but like,
sure,
there's so many, I mean, you could lengthen that out to infinity. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Right.
To me, the noises a TARDIS make are more important than like what's going on, like visually.
Yeah, but let's just picture a TARDIS where there's no like the console is on the exterior walls instead of like inside like that. That would be freaking weird. I would not.
Well, of course, yeah. The Doctor always has to be like futzing and fitzing around with like different knobs and stuff.
Yeah, well, no, I mean they still would. I'm saying the console would be on the exterior walls,
yeah,
like
instead
in
of
Star
in
Trek.
the middle.
Yeah.
Like
the Enterprise, the bridge Enterprise. See that I think that would be super weird. Like I wouldn't like that at all.
It would be like if you had the deck of the Enterprise just had like a big TARDIS console.
Right. Yeah, it'd be super weird. So I don't.
What do they do? You see, like just Riker or someone just like walking around in a circle.
Right.
There's 12 of us here. This is not conducive.
Uhura's just like, I can't hear what they're saying because you're all talking right here. You're all right here.
It's like Journey's End, but like every time.
Right? Yeah. Only they're not all getting along. They're all just like bickering because
it's like afterwards.
None of them can concentrate on what the other person's doing.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. That would be a disaster.
Journey's End.
Anyway.
The Rani, man.
The Rani. That's
a lot of potential.
That's it. We're done with her forever, probably. I don't know if they'll ever come back. She'll ever come back. It'd be cool if she did, but I don't know if she will.
She will. She's such an unused thing that it's just such a cool idea that I think is so easy to like communicate to new fans. Like, there's another female Time Lord,
Yeah.
Like,
I guess she will come back for us eventually because she is in the Big Finish stories.
Okay.
Because there's that I forget the actress, but there's like a new actress playing the Rani in Big Finish stories.
Nice.
So yeah. So we'll probably
and
get
let
to
us
her
know,
eventually.
if you want us to get started on that Time Lord Academy animated series, you can go to our Patreon.
I don't think that would help. I think we'd have to get the rights to that and No,
we can just inspect or space time it and just like change all the words around.
That wouldn't be fun.
YouTube show.
YouTube. I mean, look, they couldn't keep There was that guy who did that parody of Doctor Who with like, it was like Dr. Stu, and it was like Stewie from Family Guy as the doctor.
Womp womp.
What's
Yeah.
stupid as hell?
No, he's a listener, or at least he was. So, but it was.
I just wanted to say that's stupid as hell. I didn't mean
It
that.
was. I mean, it was like well done. Like the actual like animation and
Yeah.
everything was well done. It's just that I
It's
remember
animated.
I remember, yeah, it's animated.
That's impressive.
I
That's
remember
awesome.
he had trouble keeping it up because it kept getting taken down by either the BBC or Fox. Like one or the other would.
Oh
be
yeah, like just
we have
two
a problem
sides
with
of
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
getting sieged from two different armies.
Right. And I think eventually he just gave up and I think took it all down. I think. But in any event.
Well, we all feel like doing that sometimes. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say that would be the
Guy,
reason why we wouldn't do the Time Lord Academy independently.
Yeah, we'd have to. We would end. We too would end up burning it all down.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what would happen. But anyway, Big Finish. If Big Finish wants to hire us to write it, on board.
Yeah, give me a job. Jeez.
Yeah, on board. All right.
I'll relocate to England for work.
I don't think we'd have to. If we're just writing it.
I still would.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't know that they'd sign your visa though.
I'd just move then.
That's illegal.
Wait, not just move that. I would do it like properly.
Oh, okay.
When I say when someone says like I'm moving, I don't mean like just gonna stop going to my house.
Okay. Well, you never know with you. All right. Well, we'll be back next week with another
Inferno, right?
No, Dragonfire.
Dragonfire.
We already
Okay,
did
that was
Inferno.
close.
That was earlier.
Okay. All right.
It's got fire in it. You're close.
So yeah, Dragonfire. That's next week. Is that 4 or 3 parts?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
You know what I say? Hope for 3, plan for 4.
Yeah. Oh boy. And that's I just imagine Nick telling that to his future wife.
Oh
For 3, plan for 4.
no, it's 3.
And then just walking away and her just be like, what? What? Not knowing that you're talking about Doctor Who episodes.
No, honey, I'm talking about Doctor Who episode.
Oh my god.
Hope for 3.
Oh no, it's 3 though, so that's good.
Okay, cool.
Oh, awesome. Yay. All right. So Dragonfire next week. And then we get to do an 8th Doctor Big Finish.
Oh, those are fun.
Yeah.
Those are always really fun to listen to.
Yeah. Nick likes kicking back and just listening and
Like a
drinking
Hobbit.
some tea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that'll be a good time. Anyway. All right. Guess that's it. We'll be back next week.